Do you want to minimize the chances of conceding a goal from a flick on and an easy finish on your back? Well, in today's video, we're going to go over all the small details no one is talking about when defending long balls. So guys, whenever we analyze such game scenarios with our players in the analysis service, we basically like to go over a two-step process that will quote-unquote bulletproof the defense and prevent goals from being scored. The first step has to do with prevention. Your first and most important job as a defender is to block and prevent attacking threats. Teams usually like to use the long balls to penetrate your defensive line, either because they have players that are great in the air or because your defensive line has a weak link that is easy to beat in the air. Your job as a leader is to do two things. Number one, adapt a high block as a defensive unit to push the whole team higher up the pitch and quote-unquote force a high pressing tactic that won't give the opposition much space and time to execute a long ball. So what we're basically trying to do here is prevent the long ball. And number two, communicate with your attackers. Plan ahead of the game and let them know that the team needs them to minimize the number of long balls the opposition performs, so it would be better if they stayed a bit tighter to the opposing defenders. Understand that as a defender, you need to become a great leader and communicator. Unfortunately, not many defenders value those skills, and that might lead to a myriad of defensive issues. Now let's say that the attackers couldn't prevent the long ball. How do you react as a defensive unit? In this case, each defender has a different role. If you want to be as effective as possible and adjust to the constantly changing gameplay, you simply need to know all of those three roles that we are going to analyze. So every time there is going to be one player for the aerial duel, it is really important to only have one player involved in the battle so we can increase the number of defenders covering a possible flick on behind the defensive line that might lead to an attack. This is usually the player that is closest to the duel or the defender that is really good in the air. No matter who this is, communicate as early and as fast as possible and adjust your positioning. If you are the player that is going up for the duel, there are certain key points to keep in mind in order to beat the attacker that supposedly is good at heading the ball. Follow the trajectory of the ball and use your body and elbows to put your opponent out of balance. I am not telling you to commit a foul by pushing away your opponent with your hands. I am just telling you that you need to use your elbows and body to misposition the opponent, or else he is going to win the battle. This point is crucial if you want to win more defensive headers. It's not about how strong, powerful, or tall you are. Yes, I know these might be some characteristics that are definitely going to help you out, but the intelligence of your actions as well as your mentality are the things that can win you the battle, even if you're not the most physically gifted guy or girl on the pitch. Now, if you're not the player that goes up for the header, you're most probably somewhere nearby the duel. No matter if you're behind or in front of the duel, there is one leading defensive principle that you simply need to master and ingrain in your subconscious mind, and that is the principle of diagonal cover. Now, diagonal cover is a defensive automation that is really useful in any defensive play. In the case of long balls, the millisecond you expect a long ball to be thrown towards your defensive line is the millisecond you need to start backpedaling or running back and create a triangle with the other defenders that are going to be ready to defend a flick on. If you want a more detailed approach to this defensive automation, you and the other defender that is not involved in the duel need to be watching your teammate's back and be positioned anywhere between 3 to 5 meters behind his back at approximately a 45-degree angle. Even if your teammate loses the battle, you and the other defender are going to be there ready to defend and win the ball back. This added layer of protection is proven to be an effective defensive automation you need to master. Be aware of those other attackers though and avoid getting into physical battles with them as your defensive shape lacks balance and structure. If you are getting pressed, either pass the ball back to the goalkeeper or clear the danger away with a long and wide long ball. In case the CDM goes up for the duel, the same mechanism should be applied in order to protect the back and minimize the goal scoring chances. And now, let's analyze another important role defenders have when defending long balls, and that is winning the second ball. No matter who wins the duel, the ball might not end up going towards the back of the defense. In that case, the central defensive mids, or generally speaking the players that are close to the duel, need to be ready to win the second ball. Now the second ball is that ball that goes from one duel to the other. Positioning yourself in front of your opponent and being ready to react to the trajectory of the ball are key things to consider. You need to realize that your job is equally important to the job of all the other defenders of the team. Your goal is to win back position and restart the play, either with a fast attack or by building up the play again. So guys, there are two things I want you to take away from this video to bulletproof your goal and become a better defender. Number one, start using diagonal cover to create triangle formations in the back line and become resilient against flick-ons. And number two, use your arms, elbows, and your overall power to win duels in the air, whether that's the first or the second ball. Since you will be facing big strikers that are capable of winning the ball in the air, you need to be a little bit cheeky and smart with how you use your strength. A simple push with your shoulder can make a huge difference in their base of support. Alright guys, to wrap up this video, if you're a defender, I'm sure you're gonna enjoy watching the two videos that will pop up on your screen. And of course, if you like this video, make sure to like and subscribe. It really helps us grow. Thanks again for watching guys, I hope you have a good one.